thank you very much for the introduction and also this organizing such a wonderful event to talk about innovation and entrepreneurship. I know it's a series of conversations that we are going to have, but this is one of them. And I was informed this is one of the first physical events that you are organizing. So, congratulations for the organizing committee. So, just to start with the session, since we have a limited crowd, we can have an interactive session, right? So, quick question. If you had 24 hours with unlimited funds, right, which you normally don't get, right? That's the problem with, especially with entrepreneurs and innovators. But in this situation, you have unlimited resources, but 24 hours. What sort of product you're going to make? Any Are you going to make a product or are you going to make something else? So that's what we are going to discuss throughout the entire lecture, right? Or during this conversation. So we are going to explore how we can turn ideas to a product, right, and commercialize it. And also in this entire process, a key important part which is MVP, minimum viable product or minimum viable prototype. What is the importance of such exercise and what you're going to get out of such an exercise, right? So that's what we are going to look at today. So the agenda for my talk, I'll be talking about understanding about MVP and its importance, how to prototype and how to iterate. I'm going to take this example, Make and Bra, breast cancer bra is a small startup that we started. We are in the process of obtaining funding. We are at the same time we are developing some prototypes. So I thought it's a good example to discuss. Always you get some theory in your mind when you actually get an example with it. So I thought of using the Make and Bra as an example. Then also early user feedback and how you kind of integrate your feedback into your product development process. So before we go into actual MVP, I know before MVP there are a few steps that we have in the product development process, right? So when it comes to product development, it says it's an intricate process of transforming concept into a tangible and market-ready product. So I was just informed during a small friendly conversation with your advisor. Also, you have brilliant ideas, but bringing these ideas to commercialization is kind of a problem or a hurdle for you all. So now, when it comes to product development, we somehow need to bring your brilliant ideas to commercialization, and we somehow need to solve a problem and also have a growth, a business growth. So basically, turning ideas into a marketable product, there's a life cycle of that creation of that product or an idea into a commercializable product, and also it has to somehow drive the business, a growth, a sustainable business has to be there. So when it comes to seed concept to a core product, right, there are multiple stages. Now here you can clearly see that I've started with seed concept to core concept. Now I'm kind of narrowing down this entire product development process to MVP, right? So I'm not talking about entire product development process here. You can clearly see that I'm stopping my process at core concept. So it's not launch. It's not the commercial product we are talking about. Seed concept means, let's say, a group of students get together or entrepreneurs get together, you come up with with, you do a lot of brainstorming. You come up with very creative ideas, hypothetical solution, right? It can be a hypothetical solution. Then you have solution profile. What is this solution profile? So any project, any product, or any service that you want to develop to commercialize, you need to identify your user group or your consumer, right? Now, solution profile means you are converting your idea into from consumer's point of view, you have to explain that idea, right? Let's put it that way. So you need to go into consumer shoes and explain your idea. So that is the solution profile. We will come to that. Then MVP prototype, which is the heart of our conversation, which I'm going to keep it for later. Then validation. We take this prototype and validate. Then product ecosystem. What do you mean by product ecosystem? That means the people who you are going to work with to get your idea into a tangible solution. So you probably work with engineering firms, right? You might work with subject matter experts to get advice. You might go and work with clinicians, for example, if your product is somewhat medical engineering, right? If it is somewhat more civil engineering, you might work with civil engineers. So that's product ecosystem. The people you are working with. And then once you know that you have a good ecosystem, you have a validated prototype or a product or a concept, then you can call it as a core concept. You are not finished your problems, your journey yet. Once you get the core concept, then you have more steps to go. You have to do marketing, you have to find a business model, how you enter into the market, right? There are a lot more to do, but I'm going to narrow down that whole process into a smaller part of that entire journey. So, turning ideas into concepts. That process involves a lot of research. You have to do market research, identify your market, right? And then you need to identify the feasibility, how to scale, whether there is an innovation. Then you have to create prototypes and you have to test and validate. So basically, what I explained in the previous slide from MVP to core concept, those are the things that I have put on as few bullet points, right? Okay, so this is important. Solution profile. Now I earlier explained to you, solution profile means you are going into consumers' shoes. Now I'll take that example about breast cancer bra that I was talking about. The breast cancer bra is a normal bra that someone can wear, and bra can detect thermal fluctuations on top of the breast surface and give you some indication to the wearer about whether she is going to get breast cancer in future, right? So that's the breast cancer bra. Now, who is using the breast cancer bra is women, right? So women are our consumer or the target market. Mainly, now there are 8% of male also get breast cancer, but majority is women. Okay. Now, so our target market is women. Now, from that target market, we ask a lot of questions to identify what their requirements. So they want, their functional requirement is they want to detect breast cancer. That's primary. Number two, they want this bra to be a normal bra, not with a lot of wires and right sensors hanging, no battery, right? They want to wash daily, right, if necessary. So likewise, they give set of requirements. Okay, now you can understand solution profile means we identify a solution, but we have to define the solution from consumers' shoes, right? So that is called solution profile. Now, in that diagram, you can see product features are there, consumer wants, that means consumer requirements are there, and features of competition. Features of competition means, so if there are other products or other solutions, how we can distinguish or how we can unique, how our product can be unique compared to other competitive products. So that is features of competition. So now tie up to a problem statement, take jobs to be done. That means you have a solution profile, then the solution profile you can bring it to your technical team. Maybe that's you, right? You are the engineers. You convert that into a technical document, right? So you then gonna say, okay, if it is gonna take measure temperature, I need temperature sensors going inside. Then I need to have some sort of microprocessor to collect the data and Bluetooth chip maybe to transfer this data into a mobile device. So likewise, you are going to go down in the product and add technical words and come up with technical spec, right? So that technical spec is what we call take jobs to be done. So remember the pains and gains again. Always you have to remind, keep yourself within the boundary of consumer. Sometimes technical, when you are creating technical jobs to be done, you are bringing all sort of limits, which not a key requirement of the user. So the pains and gains are coming from user. Then solution may not always be technology, right? So solution can be a simple product. It doesn't really need to be like a high technology. So this is a good example of solution profile, right? So you have the solution on, there are two pictures which I generated with ChatGPT, right? So first image is a solution. They are using fire and kids are reading books. Okay? In the second image, electricity is used, generated via solar, still the same solution, but different technology, right? So you can have multiple solution profile that will give the same end outcome, right? So this is just an example when if you come up with the concept, user requirements, you can have multiple solution profile. Then you need to test out which solution profile will work. Again, now I'm taking you in a journey of how to land on this MVP, right? So this is target solution profile, or in other words, take jobs to be done. Now this is the breast cancer bra that I was talking about. It is very early stage, hypothetical solution concept at the moment. We created the first prototype. Now there are few things surrounding. So AI integrated early detection, self-charging, then wireless network, mobile application, washable product. So you can see there are few features. These features are what we call value propositions or solution profile or technical jobs to be done, right? Because these are more tech savvy as well, but at the same time, still the end user can understand and match to her requirements. She asked for a washable product, so we are saying it's a washable product, right? and it's a general purpose bra. That means you can use it as a normal bra that normally what they wear, right? So these are the few items that you need to have in a target solution profile. So when you are developing your project, you need to have a document, target solution profile, saying solution overview, consumer benefit, how your product will benefit your consumer. So it has to be really clearly matched against your problem statement. Solution characteristics, claims. What are the claims? Claims, do you know what are the claims in a product? Any product has, even if you go and buy something, if you go and buy something to eat, still you have the claims, right? So claims means what you are paying for. The product, they use their marketing strategy depending on the claims. So let's say this bra, we can put a claim if we get the validation. We want to, right? Our aim is to put a claim saying this bra provides 95% accuracy in detecting breast cancer. So that's one of our key claims. But we can't just put that claim on a product without doing scientific research, clinical studies, and show some evidence for that. So in your projects also, when you are taking a product to market, you need to have your claims identified and validated. Regulatory and legal. Now this product, for example, if we are going to put that claim on our product, it's FDA certified, right? If you are going to US market, it needs to get FDA certification. That means Food and Drug Administration. Any medical product that goes into US market need to go under FDA marking. It depends on category, right? So this one most probably FDA class 2. In Sri Lanka, any product, any medical product go into market, it has to go through NMRA approval, right? So likewise, it's a regulatory and legal. Then the safety. What are the safety measures you have taken? Distribution, supply chain, competitor landscape, commercials, proprietary position, right? Whether your product has the IP, you need to have that. Timing to launch, when you are going to launch the product. So these are some items that you need to have in the target solution profile. So I discussed about few things called ecosystem tools. So these are different ecosystems. IP landscape. IP landscape means intellectual property landscaping. So let's say you have an idea. I'll take the breast cancer bra again as an example. This breast cancer bra has thermal sensors. If we are using these thermal sensors, quite innovative novel sensors, we need to check the patentability and see whether we can patent it. Or we also need to check whether there is a similar product in the market already. Right? Let's say we want to go to US market, you have to check, see whether there is a similar product or technology patented in US market. We call that freedom to operate. If you don't have freedom to operate, you can't sell in US that particular technology, right? So it depends on where you want to sell. So that is called IP landscaping. And then technology landscaping means whatever the technology that you're going to use in your product, you need to scout. It's a desk job. You have to do some research and identify what technology is required. And fundamental science mechanism means you need to know science behind it, right? So I just said earlier that we are detecting breast cancer with thermal sensors. So then there has to be some link with the thermal data with breast cancer development, right? So you need to have that. So this is a quick example about competitor landscape. This is how you normally do a competitor landscape. You have different other methods and your solution and early detection, non-invasive. Those are your value propositions or unique selling points. Right? Then you are going to benchmark or compare against other products. So this is competitor landscape. Okay, now we are coming to our point about MVP. Now, what is an MVP? I have put a simple image for you to understand. Right? So the first image is your SIEE idea, concept. A donut with just a sketch. Then you have minimal viable product. Just a donut without any decorations or what, right? But still, it has to have core features of your product. Now, in my breast cancer example, my MVP has to have thermal sensors. Because if I'm using thermal sensors to detect breast cancer, I need to have some form of thermal sensors. They can be very big ones, right? You don't need to go for miniaturized versions. And also, those sensors can be connected wired into a computer. No need to have wireless, because it's just a prototype to check the functionality. So the core features has to be there, but not the full product. So smallest group of core features that will work as a standalone solution, customers will pay for. Customers should be able, you might not ask for the full price, but customers might come and say, yes, I will still buy that product because it fulfills my main requirement. So why we need an MVP, right? So those things are very important. Help test the features of the solution profile. For you to demonstrate the key features of your product, you need a mark minimum viable product. Certain features critical to your value proposition. You need to identify, or you need to show. Let's say you are going to an investor asking for money. So you need to show that these are my key value propositions. Then only you get funding. Sometimes you might be lucky for you to get funding for your idea without showing a prototype. But most of cases, you need to show a prototype, working prototype, to get funding. So MVP comes handy when it comes to getting funding. So are these minimal set of features needed to learn from visionary early adopters? Now let's say you are going to develop a product or a service, and you are going to go to market one day. When you are designing the product, you had set of requirements or set of users. So if I take my example, I wanted to sell this breast cancer bra to women, right? Especially age starting from 18 to all the way up to 45, right? That's the group, because early detection is quite important for them. Now, after making the prototype, we want to see whether they willing to pay X amount of dollars for that product, right? So early adopters are the people who are going to first to buy the product. Then we can go and ask them, okay, we have a solution. You have these other competitor methods as well, but would you buy my product? Would you like to pay this amount? Now there are platforms where you can do such MVP tryouts, Indiegogo, Kickstarter, right? These are the platforms where you can put a concept, you can create a video of your solution and put it out there and ask users or consumers to purchase, right? You can give a timeline when you can expect the product, but you don't need to have a bulk ready to go and market your product. Right, so why MVP matters? It reduces development risk and cost. So without you knowing whether your solution is going to work or whether your solution can be sold at a certain price, it's always better to check the product with your consumers before you go to market. So you can save a lot of development costs and risks of uncertainty. At the same time, you can do a lot of tuning, fine tuning. I'll come to that. So allow faster go-to-market timelines because you can test it out. Then you might find out some of the features that you thought are important are no longer important. So you can reduce the number of steps or number of features in your product. So let's say this breast cancer drug, we have a MVP, we go to market, we ask consumers to buy, and then they might come and say, the wireless communication is not really important. Is there some other way you can transfer data? How many data points you need? Right? They might ask these questions. Without wireless, if you can bring the cost down without wireless or without Bluetooth, I'm happy to connect my bra to with a USB-C or something to transfer the data. So likewise, we can ask such questions and fine-tune our product, right? Then provides immediate feedback for product improvements. So these are quite important. These are the reasons why we require minimal viable prototypes. Now, Dropbox, for example, if you type on Google, you will get this example on top, right? When it comes to MVP. What they did was, before they launched Dropbox, they put a video of their solution. How you can sync documents from your mobile phone to your laptop to your desktop. They put a video, right? So, by watching that video, a lot of people subscribe that they want the solution, right? From that money only, people actually develop the product, real product, Dropbox, right? Go and have a look. It's really interesting how they raise money, right? Just from MVP. Okay, prototype is validation. So we have these two phases called discover phase and validate phase. In the discover phase, we have to define the MVP. In the validate phase, we are validating the MVP. Right? What do you mean by defining an MVP? That means I explain you you have an idea, you convert that idea into concept, and then from the concept you create the prototype. So during that creation of prototype, you have to define what features that need to go in, right? We call technical spec. Once you have the technical spec document, you can create your prototype, right? So that is defining your MVP, then you go into validate. So in the MVP phase, you have product specification, then you create a minimal viable product. So it's an iterative process. You might take few turns to have your minimal viable product. Then you are going to market, you are validating the product. While you are validating the product, again you have few iterations to cut down some of your features, or you might need to add on some features as well, right? So build complete product only when the problem solution fit, demonstrated, and core technology is proven. I'm going to focus on two great points, right? Those are the takeaway messages from this slide. You should only develop your product once only you have a spec document that matches with your consumer requirement. Right? So now when you are doing your final year projects and etc., you might not have a consumer, but you have a problem statement, right? So with your problem statement, you need to have aims and objectives. Those things need to be matched. Then only you should start developing your prototype. So I'm just taking that as the example. Same applicable when you are going to develop a prototype. Then ramp up to production only after product or market fit is validated and product design is manufactured. Okay, what does that mean? That is the end outcome of validate phase. That means once you have your minimal viable product, you have to go to your market. You need to identify micro market, we identify smaller geography, and we are trying to sell the product. Or no, you might not even want to sell. You have to probably give the free product freely and get them to give you feedback. Right? With that feedback, you can validate your solution. Not only that, you need to have your ecosystem who is going to manufacture this product at a cost that someone would buy, right? So let's say this breast cancer drug, I want to sell this product for $50. Okay? That's my target price. But for me to make minimal viable product, I might pay $200 to my supplier. But I'm going to have a negotiation with my supplier. I will make 5,000 drugs. You need to give me at $20. $20. So then with the profit only, I can sell it at $50, right? So I probably too much exaggerating the profit margins. I probably don't need $30, but okay, that's just for the conversation, right? So I want to sell the product for $50. I want to go and talk to my suppliers. Today I want only 50 units because I'm going to do a small test with these 50 units. And then you can charge me 50 units for $200. But when we are doing the final production, first order will be 5,000 units. But then you have to give me this product for $20. So we have to negotiate. So then he also gonna check his raw material suppliers and tell, okay, that's fine, we can do that. So once we have that confirmation also, then only we can go for ramping up the production. Is that clear? Right? So all these things can happen if you have a minimal viable product. You can check your supply chain as well. That's also important, right? Okay, so how we build and test prototypes. Now we talked about the importance of MVP, right? How we can test them, or how we can make them, and what are the different types of prototypes we have. So we map, we sketch, we decide on what we are going to develop, and we are going to make the prototype and we are going to test. Those are the types of prototypes you can do. You can do high-fi, low-fi. High-fi means high fidelity, low-fi means low fidelity, right? So high fidelity means with all different colors and aesthetics, we call CMF. Color, manufacturable and finish, or color, material and finish. Those all the things are correct, and you are having a very almost ready kind of a prototype, but still a prototype, right? Low fidelity means you don't really care about the finished final look. The functionality is there, and you want to test it out. So both ways are possible depending on your solution or the product. The rapid prototyping, you all know what is rapid prototyping is. virtual versus tangible. You might want to develop a virtual prototype like a video simulation, or you can have an actual physical prototype also. Then prototyping sprints, you know different sprints of prototypes, right? When you are, especially when it comes to firmware, software development, you have different sprints, right? So now, if you look at this curve, idea and the time, in the discover phase, you have a lot of ideas. But when it comes to validate phase, your number of ideas will go down drastically, and you are testing few ideas only, right? And prototype, in the discover phase, you have prototype-driven specification. What does that mean? So you have, let's say, 10 ideas. You are making 10 different prototypes. You are testing these prototypes to develop your spec, right? You create 10 prototypes and you are testing it out, and then you have your spec document. Now, in the validate phase, it's other way around. It's specification-driven prototype. You have your specification now. Now you are putting the specification to create prototype. You are validating that. Okay? So those are how building and testing prototypes. I have a small video.
This is Sanjay. I spent 2 years of my life building the user experience team for the Google X division of Google. And it's a place I affectionately call the Department of Science Fiction because of the futuristic nature of the types of projects we took on. Self-driving cars, Google Glass, and other things that you'll see soon enough. So for those who haven't heard of this project, this is what Google Glass looks like. It allows you to overlay digital things into your eyesight while still maintain being part of the world. So if I pull out my cell phone and look into it, I'm basically out of this world now. Like I'm in my own little cell phone tablet world, what have you. But Google Glass has the vision of allowing us to continue to be in the world, but also have access to digital things that we need and love. Now, I'm going to ask you a really simple question about Google Glass. How would you prototype this experience? How long do you think it would take you to make the first working version of a heads-up display? Okay, a little bit on the long side. The answer is 1 day. And here's what it looked like. So basically, the magic piece is the coat hanger. The coat hanger invented in a specific shape that the top loop goes around your neck and the bottom loop rests against your chest. It allows me to carry a piece of plexiglass on which a little sheet protector. So these are the things that you put your book reports in so they don't get wet. Literally got it in the drugstore. Have it out in the plexiglass, and then it gets projected onto the Python projector that's connected to a network. And using this setup, within 1 day, we were already able to start having the experience of what it looks like to have digital things overlaid on your physical world, be able to move around with it, and also use the network to try out tons and tons of different ideas around software. Now, after you start getting something like that working, a really important problem comes up. Like, you're wearing this thing on your head. It's like a pair of glasses. So you don't have a mouse or a keyboard or a touch screen, all the ways that you're used to interacting with a machine. So we thought for a second, well, maybe we could do something like what was shown in Minority Report. So for folks who haven't seen that, basically Tom Cruise is manipulating software with his hands in front of his face, and photos are flying over here, and his emails are over here, and so on and so forth. So that's the same question again. How long do you think it would take to have the real experience of doing something like that? 2 years, okay. Somebody else said 1 day, 45 minutes. So here's how it looks. So you wear the thing that we saw the first time because you need some way to project things. But what happens is we got 2 hairbands, which I think is the hardest part. We have to ask people for their hairbands. But you put one hand in each hairband, and attached to that hairband, we tied a fishing line. And the fishing line goes over the top of a whiteboard, and then that goes down to this little assembly that's taped to the floor. And what this means is every time I move my hand in any direction, it adds tension to the line, and it does the following with the assembly on the floor. So the other end of the fishing wire is attached to a chopstick. And it's not because of Asian, there's just a cafeteria nearby. I don't just carry chopsticks on me. But I tie it to the end of it.
Right. Okay, it's a long video. You can watch on YouTube if needed. But the two messages that I want to give you
from that video, there are two rules he showed. First rule is quickest path to test the features. Second one is without overthinking about what you want to try out, you do that, right? You come up with a simple solution. Now both those prototypes are low fidelity prototypes. They are not like high fidelity, right? You saw the end product versus what he made to test it out, quick things, quick ideas, right? So quickest path, and also create something and test it out rather than without thinking. That's why some of the audience said that 2 years to make that Tom Cruise testing out virtually, right? For you don't need that much time. It's just the experience. You want to test out that experience, right? So these are different prototype examples. It can be a sketch, it can be a scenario play, right? So we did a scenario play for the breast cancer drug. We took some early prototypes to Cancer Hospital, and we did some scenario plays. Without even having sensors, we wanted breast cancer patients to experience the situation. So we gave them few graphs with few metal parts embedded, and we asked them to wear it and give their experience to us, right? So they said, okay, this is too bulky, I want the sensor to be this size, right? If you are putting any hard components, if you have any wires, I want these wires to be hidden. So we got some experiential information from them, right? From actual customers, right? Then storyboards, mock-ups, these are 3D printing, breadboards. So these are some of the prototypes you can quickly make. Those are all comes under minimal viable prototypes. So validating and evaluation. So once you create a hypothesis or solution profile, you can conduct experiment. You can validate your learning and then persist or pivot. What is persist or pivot? We'll come to that, right? That's the next part that I'm going to quickly take you through. So validation, part of validation is actually early user feedback. So without that, I didn't use that word earlier, but all the feedback that you are getting at the early stages of your prototyping is early user feedback, right? So early, how you can get early user feedback, there are different scientific methodologies. User data and experiences, right? Subject matter experts, right? Now you can get subject matter expert, that means let's say you are doing a medical engineering product, you definitely you need your clinicians to be part of your expert panel to guide you, right? Research, study, surveys, interviews, these are different ways you can collect data, right? So the list gone, you can have many other forms of getting feedback to your MVP. How you can do MVP testing, right? Choose appropriate micro market. So you need to identify a small group of people for you to test your product out. Depending on where you are, if you are at very early stage, small group would be okay. We call focus groups. And then if you have a high fidelity product, you want to go and actually test whether people buy it out, You can have a website, e-commerce web page. You can get people to click and see how many people click your website and press the purchase button. So that means you convince your consumer to purchase the product. That's why they press on purchase button, right? Develop actionable customer matrix. So I just gave you one matrix. Whether the customer press the purchase button or not, that's one matrix, right? Launch test in live market. You can learn, and then you pivot. Even the pricing. When it comes to pricing, also you might want to do some testing and see which price you want to sell your product at. If there is no, if you don't, let's say you don't have a competitor, it's like a first to the world, and you don't know how much you should charge for this product. So you probably test it out at different price levels and see at what price level you can sell that product at. So refine, so it's more like a loop. When you are testing your MVP, you refine, build your MVP first version, you take it to market, and if it is not good, back to the drawing board and you develop another MVP. If when you come to that Y junction, you can, if it is gonna work, you can scale the solution and go to the market, right? So these are different types of validation tests. I'm going to quickly run through because I've already mentioned most of them. Landing pages, A/B testing, right? A/B testing means you have different two versions. You want to test out which version is going to work, right? Product analog testing, that means very early stage product without having that much automation, right? Analog testing, that's what we call without that much automations, you can have more manually. You can get things done manually without making it automate, right? Concierge test, again, it's another kind of A/B kind of test. Co-created hackathons means, okay, now let's say I want to do a co-created hackathons. Co-creators mean when you are developing a solution, you want to bring different expertise. Some can be consumers, some are industrial designers, some are software engineers. You bring them into a one room and you throw different problems of your product and ask them to solve it. Those are called co-creator hackathons. Real life user case validation, MVP prototype interaction study. Okay, MVP prototype means so you create different types of prototypes. You go to a consumer and you give different prototypes. So first person comes in, try the first product, and the second person comes in, again try the product number A. Likewise, everyone get a chance to try out 5 different versions of solutions and then comment on it, right? So those are prototype interaction study. Where clinical trials are, if it is a medical product, definitely you need to do clinical trials, right? So let's say this breast cancer drug, we have to do clinical studies. Not only like 10, 20 people, we probably need 500 people to try out the product and show that product is actually giving 95% accuracy. Okay? So clinical trials when it comes to medical products mainly. Okay, pivot or not. So when you obtain user feedback, you need to actually listen to that feedback and make a decision whether you want to pivot or whether you are on the right path. If you are getting some feedback, you have to take it constructively and see where you need to fine tune your product. Then pivot and develop your prototype according to your feedback or if your feedback is 100% positive, then you can scale up, right? That's what pivot or not. So there's a 0% chance your initial MVP, your first MVP, can go to and business model will be perfect. That's 0%. From experience, I'm telling you. I was involved with multiple products taken to market, health and wellness, sports, compression products to medical products, now the vegan product, multiple products. Vegan is not yet in the market, but the other two products are in the market. It was a lot of iterations we had to go through, right? So this is more like a summary. I have now 2 more slides, then I'm done. So if you take this table, you can look it up. What are we making? Who is it for? And how are we making? Right? Minimal viable prototype, number 1. We are making for co-creators. And we can make that prototype in the lab. You don't need anyone else. You can like the Google Glasses guy, right? He made the prototype in the lab. You test it out with your co-creators and you get the feedback and you make the small batch or micro market, smaller market. And then many iterations can happen in the middle and then you go to minimal viable product. I put a question mark on 0 because you don't know how many versions you're going to do. You might do 10 versions before you go to your final 4 product concept prototype. If that gets accepted by the mass market, then you can manufacture at scale. Right? I mentioned about 5,000 bras, then only I can make 5,000 bras once I validate at that stage. So MVPs are learning vehicles, right? MVP is for you to learn about your project, about your product, about your service, whether it matches with consumer requirements. Because you are not making a product just to show it at a competition, right? You are going to make a product or a service one day you want to commercialize, you want to start selling, you need to grow a business. So for you to do that, you need to win customer, right? That's important. So small batch production bridges the gap between prototyping and manufacturing at scale. This approach allows you to delay investment in full-scale manufacturing. So some people try to make the final product and then making the financial forecast and saying, I need this much million to do this, to start this project. No, you don't need. Because you need big investment when you actually scale your manufacturing. For you to make this small prototype, you don't need a bigger investment. That's one of the reasons that in Sri Lanka, most of the engineers or entrepreneurs, they fail. They don't fail. They actually give up, thinking that they don't have money. No, you don't need that much of investment for you to start building prototypes. Now, we went to investors with only pitch book, right? We created a prototype, virtual prototype, right? Not even a physical prototype. We went to investors. Investors said no. Without seeing a physical prototype, we can't give you money, right? So then what we did? We did a financial forecast. We first actually tried to make the prototype look like the final one. Obviously, you need a lot of money, but without investors giving us money, where are we going to get money, right? So then what we did was, we created our low fidelity prototype. That's what we have there in that picture. I know it's a very small picture. There's a blue color bra. We created a low fidelity bra and we went to multiple events. Now we don't have the investment that we look for, but we got a small pot of money to start making better prototypes and do validations. So, as a conclusion, MVP design is about solving core problem quickly as possible. Prototyping and feedback loops are essential for success, right? So I want you to basically apply what you learned today in your projects as well. I'm going to stop with this small video if we are okay with time. This is
You know, what it keeps coming down to is your passion, your vision, and how do you order your priorities? You know, what it keeps coming down to is your passion, your vision, and you know, how do you order your priorities? What's important to you in developing a product?
You know, one of the things that really hurt Apple was after I left, John Scully got a very serious disease. And that disease, I've seen people get it too. It's the disease of thinking that a really great idea is 90% of the work. And that if you just tell all these other people, you know, here's this great idea, then of course they can go off and make it happen. And the problem with that is that there's just a tremendous amount of craftsmanship in between a great idea and a great product. And as you evolve that great idea, it changes and grows. It never comes out like it starts because you learn a lot more as you get into the subtleties of it. And you also find there's tremendous trade-offs that you have to make. I mean, you know, there are just certain things you can't make electrons do. There are certain things you can't make plastic do, glass do. And as you get into what factories do, robots do, and as you get into all these things, designing a product is keeping 5,000 things in your brain, these concepts, and fitting them all together and kind of continuing to push to fit them together in new and different ways to get what you want. And every day you discover something new that is a new problem or a new opportunity to fit these things together a little differently. And it's that process that is the magic.
Right. So he basically summarized the entire lecture. Great idea. To convert a great idea
to a great product, there's a whole lot of set of processes. So in that entire process, testing, developing MVPs, testing MVPs, validating MVPs, getting feedback is that process, right? So that's the importance of MVP and validating and early user feedback. So thank you all. I look forward to answering questions you